Hello folks and welcome to the channel. Today we're on to sport mode. We're not going to do the daily races, we are going to do the lap time challenge. And while that loads up, we'll talk about the car and the track. We're at Sardegna Road Track C in the GR4 cars. There's 11 days left on the challenge. You can see down there I've banged in a 56.7 which already gets gold. We are 1.1 second off the world record. Is that right? Yep. Target time for the gold is 57.3 and we're 0.7 inside that. So we are going to use a car from our garage. Enter with current car. No, that's the Alpha 155. We're actually going to use the WRX, which is the car that we set the time with. Choice of tyres, racing hard, intermediates or wets. Now I've tried the intermediates folks, just on some of the races I've run, I've actually run intermediates instead of hards because they can give you a soft type performance, maybe mediums, but they don't give you that mid-corner grip that you would expect. They give you quite longevity, but they don't give you that cornering grip that you get with the others. So there's 11 days left on this. We're just going to check the car settings. We're using racing hards. It's bopped, so absolutely everything is fixed. Bopped performance is 61621, max power 351. I've actually looked at this and said, oh look, there's transmissions, we can change them. I own the manual and racing and you can't select them. They're there as options. You can't change any wing settings, nothing. ECU you can't change to normal, so it's fully bopped. You can't go to the auto shop and buy different aero package. You can't buy different side skirts. You can't buy a new ring. You can't buy a new front splitter. It is 100% fixed by the looks of it. Somebody's going to come on and say you can buy different wheels. Maybe you can, but I don't know if they will affect performance. Different size potentially, not entirely sure. But I suppose it's one thing we can go and look at, and I can edit that out and back in. Go into car customizations, let that load up. Silly hand gestures, wheels, BBS. I like OZs for racing. So display compatible wheels only. What have we got? Nice set of racing wheels in an anthracite, in a white anthracite, slightly grey up. Yeah, they'll do it. Choose them. OZ Racing Centre hubs, 18-inch standards. Let's run 20s just to be absolutely off. Standard size. It won't run anything other than standard size. Install them. They're tucked right up in the arches, aren't they? Look at them bad boys. Right, off we go back. And here we go back to the track. And as it is, folks, I've just discovered you can run any size wheel shape or size that suits the car at all. You can run 20s tucked up in the arches. I've just done a couple of laps, 3 or 4 laps, no need to prove it, it's there, and you're good to go with whatever wheels you want. But I've reset it to default. Let's jump on the track and start doing the first levels of discussion. So I'm a 56.7, I'm in the top 1.86, top 6,000 driver. Not too bad, I don't think. Let's have a discussion about where we go. We start on the track at this point. This is the corner that everybody's struggling with. But for this first lap, I'm just going to take you around. We're not going to overly gun this. We're going to drive us round. We're going to put ourselves at particular parts of the corner and we're going to have a discussion about it. Basically, what everybody else does, but they do it on screen and put arrows on, and I might do that. So we're coming up here to this corner. Enter the blue bit. Just on the 100. If we're looking at that, I wonder if I can change the view. We've got all 4 tyres on the blue and red. That's where you want to be. Braking at this point. And as we come down this part of the track, we're going to start to turn in at second gear. And we're going to aim to put the car through that apex as much as we possibly can. Brush with that curb. You can actually run in the curb there. You can run across this curb as much as you want. And here's the next portion to take a view of. We're going to just stop here on the right hand side. You see on the tarmac, just above my hood, there's a change in the tarmac just there. When that red dot is above the steering indicator, this thing here, just there is where we want to start to brake. So when you see that, that's where you're braking, and we're going to take the car potentially in 4th gear into the apex using the grass on the inside. Accelerating out, come to the right hand side and stay right. At that red mark, let me just confirm that, and I'll do this as we reverse back up the hill. It's the difference between the crash barrier and the wall, and I'll probably edit that out, but by the by, that's where you want to start turning into the corner. So we're going to come into this corner. You've just got to be careful. If you go too far, you'll hit that wall, but try and put your wheels on the curb, straight line to this corner, put the tyres on that curb, and I'm going to stop here. You're probably going to end up a little further left, and you're probably going to try and bring the car all the way round and back to line yourself up. But if you'll notice in a few minutes, you're going to see a shed load of muddy tyre marks through that grass, because I'm going to drive up here and I'm going to attempt to straight line this, and I'm going to put my car right there. And as we come to here, I'm going to dab the brakes here, put the tyres in the grass, bop the throttle again there, brake hard, bringing the car into 3rd, down to 2nd, turn it into the apex, hit the apex into 3rd and drive it out, using a little bit of the pit lane entrance if we can. And we're going to aim for the start finish line as much as possible. So before we go through the rundown of the laps and how we get this thing done, I just want to take you through my setup. Do this every time. If you're new here, this is how we go through it. I'm running a wheel, it's a G29, manual transmission, traction control 1, default ABS, everything else off. They're the only help aids. My wheel settings, open button configuration, controller sensitivity 0, 4-speed back 5, sensitivity 5. And the next time you'll see me, we'll be taking to the track. So here we are in car. We're going to take you around a hot lap. We're going to talk you through it, how to improve our time. You can just see the dirt marks through the grass. You can see how we're borrowing it. You see how we get to the right hand side following the ghost. So coming round this corner, this is the practice, but this is where the lap starts. You've got to accelerate. Did you notice there how it changed into 3rd gear halfway through the corner? Well, having reviewed this lap, you do need to get through the most of the corner in 2nd and charge up to 3rd. So here we are, approaching this corner, right hand side, all wheels on the blue, braking just after the 100, cover the end of that red and white strip with the tyres and get through the apex. We did it in 3rd gear, following the ghost, which was pretty quick, but it took more of a tyre in the grass, in the gravel. Looking for the braking mark here, very difficult through the car, through the body of the ghost. 2 tyres in the grass, running out wide, hitting the curb, which unsettles the car. Trying to go out wide, but we didn't go wide enough, but through these dips, catching the curb and then aim for the mud, aim for the grass, put your tyres in it. Dab the brakes just before the grass, back on the brakes as you come through and get over to the right hand side. Increase the width of that corner, which allows greater acceleration. We're already 0.362 up on our ghost. 0.4, we didn't actually get as good a run out as the ghost did, but we're still going to be 0.3 ahead of our time by the look of it. And through the time there at 56.622. So we took barely a 10th off, but we still improved the time on lap 13. Back to the studio. So as we return from the track, we can see we've improved our time. We're now at 56.622. We're in the top 1.71%, and again inside the 5,000, 4,869. That's great. Let's have a look at the ranking boards. We've shown how we can improve our time. How have we done against our friends? Well, we're 3rd. JB is actually 001 ahead of me. And then Mr. McFarland ahead of us is a good solid 10th ahead of both of us. So I believe both of those boys are no TCers. And with that being the case, those guys are no TCers, and that gives me a chance. And I think there's more time in my lap. I think I can probably run a 56 5, more probably dead, challenging Mr. McFarland at the top there. And if I can do that, I'd be really happy. Should I now go and turn traction control off and try and beat my time with traction control off? Question for you. However, with that, folks, that brings me to the end of this, just a 10-15 minute video. Hopefully able to help you gain gold if you haven't got gold, or hopefully get to the top of your friends list. But with that, thank you folks for subscribing, liking, commenting, chatting, asking questions. It's all appreciated. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.